Alrighty everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. And first of all, what I'm going to do is change my microphone settings to see if there is less of an echo. So if this is a little bit better in terms of the echo, I got some feedback about that, then please let me know. Now, aside from all that, what we're going to be doing in this video is we are going to be learning how to create a Discord roles bot. Now, I'm sure you have seen something like this before if you've been part of, a few Discord servers. And what this means is that there's generally like a message that says if you react with a certain emoji, then you're going to get a certain type of role. And for those just starting out in Discord, that if you don't know what a role is, it's basically these little things right here where users are grouped into different categories or sections. They're technically called roles. Now, on the New Boston Discord server, we have our roles basically broken out into how we structure our teams. So there's a moderator role. Of course, they have like more permissions than the normal user. They can ban people, so on and so forth. And then the rest of these roles, like blockchain, community team, design team, those roles just have special permissions so they can access different channels. Like the design team can access the design channel. So that is what we are going to be creating. However, before we jump right into that, what I would like to do is go over the basics of classes versus decorators when structuring our Discord bot. So, okay, what the heck am I talking about? Classes, decorators, what's all this about? So before, what we did in all of the previous tutorials up to now, whenever we wanted to create a Discord bot, what we did is we created a client object, and this client object was just a connection to Discord. Now, whenever we wanted to listen for a certain event, for example, on Ready or on Message, what we did is we added this decorator above the function name. Now, in this tutorial, we are not going to be using this method. We are going to be using an alternative method. However, just to give you guys a quick comparison, what I'm going to do is actually, I can do this actually. So I'll show you guys the old method above in a comment, and I'll keep it here so we have a little reference to it. And then below, I'll show you the alternative of how we're going to be writing this. All right, so this was the old method before, where again, just to recap one more time, is we got a connection to Discord, and then we registered an event, and then we ran our client or our bot. Now, alternatively, what we are going to be doing, let me scroll out just a little bit and collapse this, is we can actually create our own custom class. And instead of just having a reference to this class and creating our own object from it, we can actually make our own class. And to do this, we just write class, and you can actually name it anything you want. I'll just name it my client to keep things simple. And again, like I said, instead of just getting a reference to this discord.client class, what we're going to be doing is inheriting from it. So more or less, we're going to be writing our own custom Discord bot client. Now, the first method that you want to write in this is just the dunder init. So def dunder init. And what this is going to take is not only self, but your basic argument, args, and your keyword arguments, which are referenced as kwargs. And the reason that we want to accept these is because we want to pass these along whenever we're initializing this parent class. So in order to do that, what we need to call is super. And all super is it gets a reference to your parent class. So super basically equals discord.client. And then on this, we want to call its init method. And then I'm just going to be stealing these, too lazy to type those out. And all right. So again, the first thing we want to do is we want to basically say, hey, we're making our own custom Discord bot. It's going to be inheriting from discord.client. And then whenever we initialize our own custom one, we also just want to run the initialization logic from discord.client, pretty much acting as a router so we don't have to write all of that custom initialization logic. And now, instead of writing these methods like async def on ready and having a decorator above each one, since that was, a bit tedious, what we can do is we can have a reference to those Now, since this is a class method, we want to just pass in self, and then what did we print just to keep things consistent? Okay, print online. Let me change that to ready. I like that a little bit better. And all right, print ready just like that. Now, the last thing that we need to do is this. So instead of this client object having a reference to discord.client, because that is pretty much what we did before, we can now reference my client, which is our custom bot. So again, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that this right here is basically the equivalent of this right here. The only difference is this is how you can make a bot using decorators, and this is how you can write your own custom bot. So you pretty much can avoid using decorators this way, and it allows for a little bit more cleaner code base. So this is a structure that we're going to be using for this roles bot. Now, even though this is the basic framework for a class-based Discord bot, what we want to do in this tutorial series is we want to give our bot some extra permissions. And this is because we are going to be working with roles, which includes members. And if you remember back from my either the first or second tutorial where I talked about intents, and I said that in Discord, intents are basically groups of events. Well, one of those intents are the members intents. And if you want to work with users like we're going to be doing, or excuse me, members, which we're going to be doing because we're going to be giving them roles and taking roles away from them, then we just need to enable these specific types of intents. So to do this, I'm just going to call this intents, and this is equal to discord.intents.default. All right, so this intents object is just equal to the Discord default intents. Nothing's changed, and this is what we get with our standard bot. However, what we want to do for this is we want to enable the members intents. So there's a property on here called members, and we just want to toggle this to true. And then whenever we initialize our custom bot, what we want to do is take this and pretty much say that the intents that you're going to be working with are now equal to our custom intents, and those are pretty much all the default ones with the members equals true, basically saying, hey, Discord bot, we can now work with those members events. Now, I also have some links right here that I'm going to include, which is just some documentations around intents. I think I might have included this before, but just in case you guys want to read over any documentation, make sure to include that right there. All right, so let's go ahead and recap exactly what we're going to be doing in this tutorial series, and that is this. We will create a couple roles, and then what we will do is we'll have a message. We'll just have it in this general channel for now. And we'll say, if you want a role, then reply with one of these emojis. And let's say if you want a custom role, then how do you spell emojis? Is there an E? Who knows? All right, and then let's just pick 3 emojis. Let's go with the potato. It's one of my faves. And then what else can we do? We can have this chocolate right here. And then let's, none of these look very cool. Let's go with the monkey. All right. So our emojis that we're going to be using is potato, the chocolate, and the monkey. And all right, let me just go ahead and copy that. Now, what our bot is going to do is it's actually going to listen for any of these reactions or emojis that anyone responds with on this specific message. So what we need is a reference to this message ID. And the easiest way to actually get this is if you just copy message link. Then what you can do is, again, I'm just going to paste it in somewhere real quick, is this last ID right here is the message ID. So 89 yada 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 836. Again, this is probably not the most formal way to do it, but it's definitely the quickest. So what we need is a reference to that message ID, since we're going to be checking of all the messages that our bot is listening to. We want to match it because we only want to give them a role if they respond to that specific message. So I'm just going to name it target message ID, and I'm going to say it's equal to this message right here. So anyways, to recap, the target message is equal to this message right here. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, remember, like we said, we want to give the user a specific role whenever they react with one of those emojis. But in order to do that, a key part of that is actually having those roles available on our Discord server. So in order to create a role, just go to your server settings and then roles, and then you can, I'm sure you can guess it, press this button that says create role, and then you can give your role a name. So remember, we have 3 emojis. One is the potato, one is the chocolate, and one is the monkey. So for the potato, I'm just gonna say whenever users click that, they're gonna get a role called potato person. And we'll just give it this green color. And what we want to do is we want to display role members separately from online members, and that just makes sure that they appear separately on that little user list on the right hand side. And that is pretty much all we need for this. Again, it's not going to have any special permissions. We're just going to pretty much display them separately. So save that, and then if we go back, we can create these other roles. So the next one of the chocolate, we will say chocolate lover, and this one can be blue, and of course the same thing, change and then back, create a new one. And the third one was the monkey, so we'll say funky monkey. Again, not very creative, but they're the first things that I could think of right now. So of course want to display that separately too, save changes, and all right. So now if we go back to roles, we can see that we have 4 different roles. These are the ones that we just created: potato person, chocolate love, and I actually meant to change that to chocolate lover, and funky monkey. All right, cool. So all this bot is going to do is it's going to have 2 methods. One is listening to when they add one of these emojis, and one is listening to when they remove one of these emojis from the message. Of course, whenever they add or respond with these emojis, we're going to give them a role. And whenever they remove this emoji, we're going to take the role away from them. So first, let's go ahead and make sure that we can give them a role. So back in our source code, can't talk today, what we do is the method for this is on raw reaction add. And what this is going to take is self and then the payload. All right. And then I'll leave a comment here, and then we can say that this method is going to give a role based on a reaction emoji. Now again, remember, we only want to listen if they replied with the emoji on this specific message. So similar to before, what we want to do is we just want to compare the payload message ID to this target message ID, since this is the message that we just created. And if it doesn't match, then we're just going to return, because we don't really care about those payloads. So if the payload dot message ID is not equal to, then we can just copy this, self.target.message ID, then what we can do is just return and pretty much ignore those payloads. Now, the next thing that we want is a reference to the guild. Now, in Discord documentation, whenever you see guild, it basically just means the Discord server. So this New Boston, this is a guild right here. In this TNB tutorials, this server I made for this tutorial series, this is a guild. And the reason for that is that this bot can actually be running on multiple servers. Now, we only want to get a reference to the roles on this server, aka this guild. So that is, just a little bit of background of that, of why we are plucking out the guild. So the guild is equal to the client.get guild. And what we need to pass in is actually the guild ID. So on this payload object, there's actually a guild ID that we can call. So in short, what this is going to do is whenever they add an emoji to a message, we're just going to get the guild from where that emoji was coming from. So now we can get to the good stuff, and that is making sure we give them a role whenever they respond with one of those specific emojis. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be looking at this payload object, and we're going to be taking the emoji property off it and looking at the name property, so payload.emoji.name, and we're going to see if it matches either the potato, the chocolate, or the monkey. And if so, then we can just give them that role. So to get this actual name, I want to show you something that I want to make sure you don't run into. If you just copy, for example, this potato right here and you paste it in, it's going to convert it to the text-based version of that emoji. However, we want, I don't even know how to say this, but we want the actual raw potato. And I don't mean raw uncooked, I just mean raw as in code. So anyways, if you just go ahead and this is kind of a shortcut, at least how I do it. If you print out payload.emoji.name, and we can actually just run the spot right here. So again, all that's going to happen right now is whenever they add a reaction to that message, it's just going to print out the payload emoji name in the terminal, and I'll show you guys why. So let me run this, and all right, it is ready. Now back in Discord, let me actually reply with this potato. And just to show you guys what's going on real quick, instead of the name potato, it's going to print out the actual potato. And the reason that we wanted to do this again is because we actually want to use this in the source code to compare it to the name property. And just so I don't have to run this again, doing my same little test back in Discord, I'm also going to respond with the chocolate and the monkey. All right. So again, all I'm doing right now is I just wanted to reference to these so I can kind of copy them and paste them in my source code. So, all right. Actually, I don't want to stop that because I think I'm worried that this might disappear. But either way, now that we have that available in our source code, we can say if the payload.emoji.name is equal to this potato, then under here, I'm going to write pass right now, but again, what we're going to be doing eventually is we're going to be giving them the role potato person. Now, again, I just want to write pass because I want to fill in basically the template for this. Else, if payload.emoji name is equal to this chocolate, then we can be giving them the role chocolate lover. And then if it is equal to this monkey right here, then there you go. They're going to be given the role funky monkey. So now let me go ahead and clear that. And all right, it looked like it didn't actually remove it, but better safe than sorry. So we have the basic framework right here of matching these emojis that they reacted to with the actual ones that we're looking for. So now the question is, how do we give them the actual role? Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need to get a reference to the Discord role object of potato person. Now, the easiest way that I know how to do this is if we just make a variable called a role, then there's a function in Discord utils library called get in discord.utils.get. And as you can see, this takes an iterable, and the second parameter is attributes. So basically, we're going to give it an iterable, and this is basically just going to be the list of roles in the guild. And right now we have 3 roles: potato person, chocolate lover, and funky monkey. And from that iterable, the attribute that we want to match is just the name of the role, which is potato person. And again, if this doesn't make sense, you're going to see in like 2 seconds what's going on. So first thing, guild.roles. So basically from the roles in our guild, find the one with the name of potato person. So now this role variable is essentially equal to the potato person role. And then once we have a reference to that role, what we can do is just add it to the member. In other words, just give them the role. So in order to do this, we need to await payload.member. So this is how we get access to the actual user or the member who is replying with this potato. And to give them the role, all we need to do is call the method add roles and pass in our role, which is the potato person role, just like that. So now we can just copy this and just change the name. So again, if they reply with a chocolate, the name of that role was chocolate lover. So we're going to be getting a reference to the chocolate lover role and giving the member this role. And last but not least, this is Funky Monkey. And all right. So before I run this, just to recap, we are going to be getting a reference to the guild so we can get all of the roles from the guild. And then whenever we see either the potato, the chocolate, or Funky Monkey, we are going to be saying, okay, what is the role, the Discord role, related to that emoji? And then we are just going to assign the member that role right here. So now let's go ahead and run it. And it should say ready. All right, and check it out. Now, just to test this out, we can see that if I click on my name right here, I don't have any roles. It says Bucky, no roles. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a reaction, and let's go with the potato at first. And all right, so the first thing that we can see is instead of just online, I'm now potato person, always a good sign. And if you click on my name, you can see that indeed, I do have the potato person role. And again, just to test it one more time, if I click on the chocolate, so it doesn't change me to chocolate lovers because I can only be in one category at a time. Again, even though I'm online, it doesn't say I'm online because, like I said, you can only be in one category at a time. But when you're testing this out, I just want to point out, if you click on the name, you can indeed see all of their roles. So potato person and chocolate lover. And I guess just to make triple sure that this works for all of them, I click the monkey, and all right. So I now have the potato person, chocolate lover, and Funky Monkey roles. So now what we have to do is just add one more method that's pretty much just going to be a quick copy and paste with a few tweaks. And that is how to remove a role from a user whenever they remove this emoji. So again, I just removed Funky Monkey, but since we don't have that logic yet, I still have the Funky Monkey role. So how do we do that? Well, let me just go ahead and stop this bot. And all right, due to laziness, what I'm gonna actually do is just copy this on raw reaction add, just because it's so similar. Make sure everything's lined up. All right, so the event whenever a user removes a reaction from a message is on raw reaction remove. So we will say that this method is going to remove a role based on a reaction emoji. So this takes the same payload. And again, we're just going to keep this bit of logic right here because if they are removing emojis from another message other than this one right here, then we really don't care about it. So we can just return out of that. Of course, we still need a reference to the guild because just like before, we only want to be looking through the roles for this guild. Now, after this, what we need to do is we actually need a reference to the member who is trying to remove their role. So I'm just going to call this member and set this equal to guild. And there's a easy method on here called get member. And for here, what you just need to pass in is the user ID. So payload dot user ID. All right. So, all right, we have a reference to the guild and the actual member. So now, just like before, we are going to be matching these potatoes, chocolate, and monkey. And this first one is the same right here. We need a reference to the role. However, the thing that's different in this is actually this second line right here, which instead of adding a role to them, what we want to do is we want to say member dot remove roles. And for this member, what role do we want to remove? Well, of course, it's this role right here. So we can just take this and paste it in here, replacing the add roles with remove role. And just to recap one last time, whenever they remove, or in other words, do this, what we want to do is basically say, okay, what member is trying to remove one of the roles? Are they removing one of these three emojis? And if so, we just want to get the role associated with this emoji and then remove that role from the member, or remove the member from the role. However you say it, I don't know. But anyways, let's just go ahead and test this out and run this. And that looks ready. And all right. So of course I am a potato person. Now I actually also have these two other roles because I removed those emojis before the bot was actually running to remove the roles from it. So either way, I am a potato person right now. I'm going to click this and it says, okay, you are now no longer a potato person. Now, just to make sure I can remove Chocolate Lover and Funky Monkey, I'm actually going to have to add those roles back in. So there's the monkey and there is the chocolate. And all right, so now just to test Chocolate Lover. If I click this, no more Chocolate Lover role. And last but not least, if I just want to get rid of all my roles, then I'm going to click this monkey. And all right. So now all of my roles are gone. And just to test the full logic one more time, let's just go ahead and add me as a potato person. All right, looking good. And remove. And there you go. So that is how you make the basics of a roles bot. In other words, you can have a message that say, reply with one of these emojis whenever you want a specific role. And again, in addition to just having it like cosmetic, where you are like a potato person or funky monkey or whatever, typically, like I said, what roles do is it gives users access to either certain permissions, like you can be a moderator. That's probably not something you want to do, just have anyone react with an emoji and they suddenly become a moderator. But just, kind of giving you guys an overview of the potential, they can either have certain permissions to do things, or more likely what you're going to do is you're going to give them access to certain channels or certain sections of the Discord server that they want to see. For example, maybe programmers want certain channels or designers want certain channels, so on and so forth. But yeah, there you go. The basics of a Discord roles bot. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you guys later.